In this session, I'm sharing 5 books that genuinely changed how I think about myself, about money, and about what's possible. I'm not going to summarize them, I'm going to tell you the assumptions that most of us have, which were challenged, and how for most of us, our thinking shifts when you read it. Because once you read these books, you can't unsee or unthink. I don't care what you call it, but every one of these books woke me up to something I didn't know. So the first book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is based on 20 years of him studying 500 of the most successful people in his era, which included Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison. Hill identified 13 principles common to all of them, with belief and desire at the center of all of them. Now, I'll say this, Hill was a complicated figure, and some of his claimed sources have since been questioned, but the ideas have outlasted the controversy. And in my own experience with this book, I read it and it tripled my income within a few months. Think and Grow Rich challenges the myth that success is all about talent, luck, or who you know. And society tells you that wealth is reserved for a certain type of person, usually not you. Hill says that the only thing standing between you and what you really want is the story in your mind. This book changes your thinking. You stop waiting for permission, opportunity, or the right circumstances, and you start understanding that your dominant thoughts are literally shaping your outcomes. You become ruthlessly intentional about what you allow yourself to believe is possible. Hill's work is about the power of belief to create wealth, but the next book takes a completely different angle, and it's one that most money conversations completely ignore. What if the problem is not that you want too little, but you've been taught that you want the wrong things entirely? Sarah Ban Breathnach's Simple Abundance was written as 365-day reflections for women, one for every day of the year. It introduced the concept of the gratitude journal before gratitude became a wellness industry. It's about finding joy, authenticity, and enoughness in ordinary life. Simple Abundance challenges the belief that more is always better, that a woman's worth is measured by what she accumulates, achieves, or performs. Society tells us to want bigger, better, more. Simple Abundance introduces us to the concept of enough and says that what you already have is enough to build a beautiful life on. This book shows you how to slow down, and as someone who overdoes things and strives to overachieve, it really helped me to start noticing what I already had instead of just chasing what I did not. After reading this book, I began to make choices based on what genuinely brings me joy rather than what looks right from the outside. And it quietly teaches you that authenticity is not a luxury, it's a foundation. Simple Abundance teaches you to find joy and enoughness. It teaches us to value what we already have. But the next book asks a harder question. Do you actually understand how money works? Because most of us have been taught to think about money in a way that keeps us exactly where we are. For a long time, Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, was my favorite book. Kiyosaki grew up with 2 father figures, his own highly educated but financially struggling father, and his father's friend who left school early but built significant wealth. The book contrasts their completely different beliefs about money and shows how these beliefs determine their financial outcomes. This book challenges the myth that a good education, a secure job, and a steady salary is the path to financial freedom. Society, particularly for women, teaches financial dependence and security seeking above financial intelligence and asset building. Kiyosaki says that the system was never designed to make you wealthy, only comfortable enough to keep working in it. And I think this is probably where the concept of JOB, a job just over broke, comes in, because it aligns closely with what Kiyosaki says. After reading this book, you start seeing the difference between assets and liabilities, things that put money in your pocket versus things that take it out. And some of what you thought were assets are not. Our mortgaged home, for example, Until that last penny of your mortgage is paid, your house belongs to the bank. It can be repossessed at any time. It's not an asset, it's a liability with a front door. And after reading this book, you begin to question the idea of a job as security and as safety, and you start thinking about what you could own, build, or invest in instead. For a woman building a business, this is foundational. Kiyosaki challenges how you think about money and assets, but this next book goes one step further. It challenges why so many women are not thinking about money at all, and the answer is more uncomfortable than most people expect. Prince Charming isn't coming. Barbara Hussin. This book is one of my favourite titles. It always makes me chuckle. Published under her previous name, Barbara Stanny. So look for either name when you're searching for it. Hussin is the daughter of one of the founders of H&R Block. She married a man who gambled away all her money and left her financially devastated. This book is the story of her financial awakening and her interviews with hundreds of women who took control of their money after years of avoidance, dependence, or fear. Prince Charming Isn't Coming challenges societal beliefs that someone else, a husband, a father, a financial advisor, will sort your money out for you. Society actively teaches women to be financially dependent, to find the idea of money unfeminine, to hand financial decisions to someone more qualified. Hussin says that story is just plain wrong, and it's dangerous. This book taught me to stop outsourcing my financial future to someone else. You realize that financial ignorance is not innocence, it's vulnerability, and you start taking an active interest in where your money is and where it's going and how to make it work for you. For midlife women in particular, this book lands like a thunderbolt. Hussin's book is about taking control of your financial future. And the last book is about what wealth looks like in practice, because it almost certainly is not what you've been shown. Thomas Stanley's book, The Millionaire Next Door, is based on decades of research into actual millionaires in America, not the ones that we see on television. Stanley found that most genuine wealth is unglamorous and built through discipline, frugality, and self-employment over a long period of time. Stanley shows us that wealth looks like luxury. Society sells us an image of success, the car, the house, the clothes, the lifestyle, but in reality, that's almost always funded by debt, not by wealth. The people performing success are often asset poor. Stanley shows us that the wealthy are almost always invisible, and I know so many people who are millionaires or even multimillionaires, and you would never guess. Stanley's research completely dismantles the performance of money and replaces it with the reality of it. This book helped me to stop looking at people who appear to be successful and start thinking about who is actually building something real. You start valuing net worth over lifestyle. And for a woman building a modest, purposeful service business, this book gives you full permission to see yourself as a wealth builder. So 5 books, 5 myths challenge, 5 shifts in thinking that once you know, you can never go back. Not one of these are about working harder. Not one of them is about doing more. Every single one is about thinking differently. And that for a midlife woman who has spent decades being told what to think about, how to think about money and success and what she deserves is everything. The most expensive thing that you will ever own is an unchallenged belief. These 5 books challenged mine, and I hope that they'll do the same for you. I'll see you in the next session.